Hello, everyone. It's Lilian and I here, and we are doing that impromptu because we're just so inspired of what we were just processing through. So tonight we're doing healing the root of the masculine, which is so important for us within our being, connected to like our fathers, masculine energy, like relationships, everything, right? It just stems from that masculine root, that core, right? So tonight we're really getting to the depth, the root of like why things are affecting us in our physical reality, which is connected to the masculine energy, whether that's like brothers, friends, fathers, all of that, right? Grandparents, like grandfathers, all of that, right? Just healing the ancestral line, the lineage, just honoring it all, but just really getting to the root tonight. So, where do we begin? Well, I just from childhood, childhood, right? As you know, we have, I think from my, I'm just going to weave into my experiences too, because I think that's the best way of kind of relating to everything as well. So from my childhood, I mean, my mom, she raised three kids on her own through basically three different relationships. But just journeying through that whole time, I really leaned more on my mom of needing that nurturing energy because the masculine energy in my life on my journey was so harsh and so painful, as in the um the mental aspect of how it was affecting all of us within the family. um it's just as hurtful when things are in like that physical, like the energy of it without like, thank goodness my father never was physically abusive, but I mean the verbal abusiveness is just as bad. So um yeah, it's just feeling safe. I didn't really know what it felt like to feel safe in my body. So ever since I was little, so I would just like, I think that's why I dabbled in so much different things of like my artistry, nature, being with my mom's friends. Just I wanted to avoid the masculine energy at all costs. Cause I mean, it was like that ticking time bomb energy that I was around, not knowing what was gonna set off my stepfather, right? It's like you're walking. This is what my mom and I would always say. It's like constantly walking on eggshells. And my mom and I would be like, we don't want to walk on eggshells anymore. And my mom and I would connect so much because we could feel so much. We'd have like conversations a lot, just hold each other, cry. I would just listen to her and it would make me angry as in what she was feeling. And um, and then I was just like, why am I feeling this anger within me? I don't want to be angry. So I like suppressed it and I thought I was bad. So I connected that anger to my stepfather. And I was just like, I don't want to become like him. Like, and I just swore to myself, I don't want to be like him. So I just like avoided him at all costs, right? Thinking that that would keep me away from like becoming like him. So I think I just attached to my mom so much more, and like the nurturing feminine energy, because I needed that because it helped to soothe that, the like the anger within me, the like the rage, the hurt, the pain, right? So then I think that's why I've just been on this whole journey of knowing what it feels like, what the feminine, like the nurturing feminine energy feels like, and how like the feminine needs that healthy masculine for so that she can feel safe. So it's just, I mean, I'm like 34 now, so it's just that's been my whole life, right? And I think I just been doing it, right? And it becomes normal. right? That I don't even think of like, oh, this is like a huge piece of like how I can help others go through like what I went through, right? So it's kind of like in the subconscious of like, oh my God, I didn't even think that this is like a huge part of how it's been affecting my life. And then like with my lover and all of that. So it's just like real not being afraid to heal. I mean, when I was 19, I was all about like self-help books and just wanting to heal this because I'm like, I remember when I was at my first job and I'm like, I know there's so much more out there. And I'm like, I don't want to be in this pain that my family's feeling. And I'm like, something has to change. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to take that upon myself to just do the work and start healing. Right. So it's like when I took that first step of like getting my first like self-help book, I'm like, okay, I can do this. It's kind of working. So then I just trusted where it was guided. I knew subconsciously my higher self was guiding me, even though if I didn't know at the time that that's what fully it was, I just trusted in that, right? Like there was something, a higher power that was guiding me and leading me, right? I think, and kind of I grew up like Catholic, right? So it was just I really connected to like Jesus as like my bro of like, yeah, like okay, he's like a healthy masculine and like a father as well. I saw him as a father. So I would just have these conversations and I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's what I'm receiving of how he's trying to describe. And I'm like, okay, it's working. So I just would go in nature and just have conversations. And I'm like, okay, this is like the father figure energy that I need. So it helps me with my faith and keeps me on my path with all this like density and temptation around me. I did it. I got through it. And I mean, I'm going to be sharing more in depth about all that later because it's so deep. But yeah, so it's just it really kept me in that wholesomeness and realizing now of like seeing my growth and being with my lover now of how I mean, we're always going to get triggered, but now how things are kind of affecting how things are right now that it's like, okay, it's okay. You know what? Let's just go to the root, heal it, alchemize it so that we can move forward, not bringing the past into the present. Because, like, I mean, not allowing the past to affect so much of the present that it just creates that chaos energy. It's like being aware of the past in that present moment to alchemize it and to just fully like heal it in the now. So yeah, it's just I think for me it was a lot of suppression that it was literally thank goodness it was kind of showing up in my body when I first started college that my stomach I honestly didn't think I was gonna make it to my 20th birthday because I was so stressed with my stepfather and the energy and how it was affecting us that I would literally internalize it. So my stomach would literally get painful when I was around like harsh energy or like anger. Um, so I'm like, okay, I need to start like looking at this. So that's when I started like meditating and just breathing, starting with breathing. And I would just like breathe into it. And um, that's when I kind of just started journeying of just like kind of disassociating from the pain at times when it got unbearable, especially at work. And I would just like, oh, how do I get through this? How do I get through this? And then I would just literally just leave my body and just fly around. And then it was just like coming back. It was like, oh, that pain's there. So then I was just like fly around again. But I knew eventually I had to ground or a situation would ground me. And I'm like, okay, just have to deal with it. But it would be lesser pain, right? Oh, it's 11:11, make a wish. It's just setting that intention to just alchemizing all of this for like the greater whole and the highest good of all to just like fully end this like pattern that we've been in, this looping that we've been in subconsciously, known, unknown, consciously, subconsciously, all of that in all directions, times, and space, just to like alchemize it for all of like humanity and the lineage and our ancestors and just honoring it all as well, right? I mean, we're meant to thrive and to flourish. And I think for me, a big part of my blog, or what's been kind of holding me back, is the deep wound of the masculine, which became more aware of today. So it's good. I was feeling kind of that pain earlier talking about it, but I'm like, no, it actually feels pretty good, because it's just like, I know my fathers are proud of me. And it's just knowing that I had to do this work if like this was my destiny, right? So I'm not denying it anymore. It's just fully accepting it. So yeah. Lillian, would you like to ask any questions or anything?
Okay, of course, I have many questions to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you is, well, first, thank you for sharing all
Mhm.
your experience of your own relationship with your father. So I would love to know that, I'm sure the audience here, the community would like to know that, how do you bring that relationship in your father
Mhm.
to your next relationship?
Mhm. Yeah, so taking those, like the lessons and blessings with me. So it's like with my relationship, it definitely brings up things um that are triggering of, because when I associate my father, it's like the relationship with my father and my mom, right? So it's like this is like the most beautiful relationship ever. So it's like part of me was kind of in that fear of like, I don't want to do anything wrong, as how I felt with my father doing certain things. So it's always me thinking first of mindfully of like, okay, this is like similar energy, this is like a similar trigger, and just need to stop and be like, okay, this is what happened in the past, but I'm like, it's different now, but it's just bringing that awareness and the mindfulness of like, okay, how could I bring more love into this situation or trigger that I wasn't able to with my father or with myself at that time. So it's creating a new reference, um, new foundation. So it's like when I meet myself there fully with the presence of my lover, like fully, that I mean, I allow her to hold me and we hold each other and we talk through it. But like I'm honest with her and I tell her like exactly that, okay, this is triggering for me and this is coming up because of this. And then we just can relate on a deeper level and then just move forward. But it's just honesty. Honesty. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I think that prior to the live, we talk about emotion entanglement as well. And I think that we talk about even deeper. That's why we're going on live. Is about the emotion of the relationship. Yeah. So I can share, and then you can share your part. So I'll share about just very slightly that what I've been seeing and witnessing is the emotion of the unwanted emotion that is want to park at somebody's or with somebody's, so that they feel lighter, and so that that person will understand him or her and bring into him or her to his life. And I felt that that kind of situation and dynamic, that relationship dynamic, is really like codependency. So I know the feeling of codependency, and I witness a lot of women have that codependency. And in a way that when two persons get together in a relationship, that is already in the entanglement. When we say an entanglement, for me, that is like, it not necessarily is a negative thing. It's just like we have contract together to have relationship together. That is when we open up for two person get together as a relationship. So when two relationship two person together, it started to have that, the energies bounce each other's, binding each other, which is beautiful thing, right? But if that one person did not even look at their emotions or do not check in, and also let's say sharing emotion to another person, just keep, and then just repress. And one person repressed, another person is showering that person of that energy, right? And that person that is already repressed is just continue to receiving, and that will sooner or later will turn into the codependency. It's just like, for example, like that person smoking, I'm not smoking. But when you're in a household, when you have a relationship with that person, somehow you will become like casual smoker, maybe, including less drinking too. From casual smoker, and then you become that regular, and then you become like, yeah. I mean, this is just something that I see it, and this is something that I witnessed it as well, and also in my family. So go back to the emotional. I'm just talking about the metaphoric of that. So codependency and the feeling of that, and it's actually hurting and damaging the relationship in the long run. But it started with that. So yeah, and I know that my experience is just like when we aware, we will just step out of that entanglement and keep our bubble and clear and protection. Since your energy is yours, it is not mine. And we also do the clearing work, but it just, of course, it's the bubble and shielding, all of that. So I know that sometimes I will talk back in a way that give them the tips, like what do we call that? Unsolicited or something, whatever that word is. It means that that person is even not ready to receive and become that person triggered. And that happened when my experience is that person will be get triggered, and then will be coming back even more energy to you. And then you are starting to say, you know what, that person doesn't even understand. I just need to zip them out. That is also a form of suppress and repress. So yeah. So in the woman body, our woman body is receptivity, is naturally receptivity, and also naturally receive even without conscious, and all gonna be received onto our breast, onto the heart, on the womb space, and all the lower chakras. And when you feel the block of all of these organs, let's say, yeah, layered by layered, we will feel that when we go on the bedroom, on the bed with your lover, you are starting to not feeling that much because of that sexual energy, that intimacy energy being blocked. So when our intimacy energy being blocked, you couldn't feel inside you, but you're starting to perform because you wanted that person to feel good as well, and you started performing, and you become masculine way of making love because you are doing it, you're performing it instead of just feeling into your body and just let your body feel it. So a lot of women become masculine having sex. The man is already masculine, woman's masculine. When two masculine on the bed, who is receiving? Everybody is doing the job, doing the work to perform well so that the outcome is there. It's just like it become like a partnership. It's not a lover, it become like a partner, work colleague. So think about this. Would you like your partner, whether man or woman, to do so much on the bed, to become your work colleague? So you have to achieve the outcome so that you become peak. You have that peak moment. So that is using a lot of the mind, of course. I want to get there. And it's not you. You want that to be done. Normally when we have that masculine, I'm talking about woman body, when you have that masculine way of working on the bed, you want to land or go to that destination. When we on the bed, when we love somebody, when we making love to another person through us, we are in that present moment to receive and giving that energy of love. And that is literally no way to go. We just be in that moment. The body receive the nourishment and nowhere to go. There's no next meeting to go. So yeah. So in this space as well, that everything in our body will alchemize by these energies. Because we're starting to open. If you opened.
Mommy, go sleeping on couch.
Okay, it's okay.
But it's not so loud.
It's okay. So yeah, so that is my part of sharings that is it just landed today, and I'm so grateful that Carl that you wanted to open this in pronto, because whenever we have these, talking and open expansion of sharing, a lot of time that there's no recording, and a lot of time that it's just so much coming through. So yeah, and again, because of equinox, what's equinox is equal, is in harmony. So the two polarity, and in that space that we are also sharing by using our voice, our experience, to create the harmony within ourselves, that we do have the masculine and femininity energy within us. So yeah, and that reflect of the relationship that we have, the relationship of within ourselves, we reflect the relationship, how we deal with the relationship around you. So yeah, that's my part of sharing.
Yeah. So beautiful. Yeah, it's just when you allow that sacred space to be there, and for each other to like witness each other, feel each other, to see each other, like all through the heart, that's where like the depth of healing happens, right? So it's amazing. And that's why I always love just coming back home to Sacred Heart Valley and the GOTC. It's just that constant recentering, realigning to like the heart, to the body, to the being, to the vessel, to the love that you are, right? And that's all that we do in like Sacred Heart Valley, right? It's so heart-based and just also full of love. So it's just coming back to the heart so the heart can be healed, and then in turn the whole body receives the healing. And it creates that permanent change and transformation that we all long for, right? Without having to fill up in other ways, right? It's like coming back to the roots. Yeah, for that natural fulfillment, the nature way of being. Mhm. Mm. Yeah.
Do you have anything else to share, Kyle?
Oh, man, there's so much else, but I mean, Yeah. But I think that's a beautiful segue to just the whole events in October. Yeah. So I'm going to be
Do you
talking
want to
about,
share what is in October?
yes. So it's going to get so deep. But it's like I mean, everything is all at the root that I'm going to talk about of the masculine so that the feminine can thrive. And that is like the masculine within us works with the feminine, right? And then in turn helps all of our relationships and all of that. But it's like really reframing what like sex is like at the root, like everything from like my whole journey from like when I was little to like now. And it's just like everything so deep, diving so deep than I've ever dived deep before or even shared before. So it's just like getting to like the depth of me so that it reaches the depth of you so that you can just fully feel so safe and thrive and like just ask me any questions you want of like the healthy masculine from like hearing from now of like the healthy masculine, and it's just the whole beautiful journey on my way there. So yeah, it's going to be probably one of the most empowering and transformative journeys of allowing my heart and voice to be heard through my healthy masculine now. Yeah. So
Yeah, so Carl and I, we talk about before, it's just like I think that we were talking about the reframing of sex from what I shared in the last, which is this month. And I was thinking, what is about last month and next month? And I was like, why don't you host it? I was like, it is time for women to see what is a healthy masculinity or masculine as in terms of the man.
Here go, Mommy.
Okay, so in terms of the man, and also that this man also hold a beautiful feminine energy. So I know that Carl, you have done a lot of the work with the GOTC, and again, your mission is literally divine masculine to gain to gain a healthy masculine with yourself. And thank you for sharing all of that in the beginning, because you have that experience of in the childhood that you can you see, you hear, you experience, you feel, and all of that. And also that you reflect that why I don't do now, I know why I don't do this because of this. And we know that a lot of social media out there talking about masculine and feminine, and we read a lot. And I was say, hey, GOTC have a healthy masculine there. Why don't you show off? Show off and show up. But you know why it's not what I mean by showing off?
yeah.
It means that literally to be visible.
Mm-hmm.
The woman wanted to see. The woman wanted to ask questions and all of that. And I have been showing up a lot in terms of what is femininity, what is feminine heart, what is in the female body, how is the feeling and emotion in this woman's body. And of course, my woman's masculinity is another way that a woman very familiar with right, with work, everything. I can do it, I don't need man. And also those wounding, right? Like competition, climbing up the ladders, there's jealousy around the friends and all the good girl syndrome and all the suppression of the voice is all in the woman. And I recognize that there's a lot of women in around me and also in around social media. Women keep talking and talking and talking, right? Nothing wrong with talking, but I want to see the man equally talking. I see a few of the men really talking is really nurturing. And I was at Sacred Heart Valley have a man too.
Look, Mommy.
Mm.
Look, Mommy.
Okay. So I was at, why don't you just invite Carl to talk? We don't know where is that gonna, as long as at least we start, we kick off. So I reached out to Kyle and I just said that, you know what, you just do reversing of what I'm saying. When I'm reversing means the opposite, like man, woman, masculine and feminine, just share. And then I'm sure that there's a lot of question about for women, right? Women said that, where's the good man? And the man said, where's the good lady? You're not the good woman, right? So many of that. And yeah, I was like, it is time to show up, So when we talk about that, he couldn't wait. He said, I want to do life now. That's the
Yeah.
passion, the fire in him.
Yeah.
I said, oh, now? Okay. So we did live in Pronto, but it is a segue for us to journey, enter the October. So yeah. And also that, to promote this event. And again, this event is free and in Sacred Heart Valley. And again, it's recorded. And it's recorded, but it's not streamed live. And it's only for people, we only send the recording to those people who attend because it is a sacred space. It is the space for healing. So we honor whoever who being called to come into this container to heal. It is for them and it is for you. You have the option. So yeah. There you go. That's from me.
Yeah. It's time. It's time. Yes. Yeah. It's time.
Yes. So yeah, so do you want to bring this to closing?
Yes. Yes. Know that. Yeah, the masculines here, the healthy masculines here to be of heart service and just we all fully walk hand in hand, heart to heart as one, but let's just heal this all, heal at our root fully and completely. And just so we can all just thrive and just be as one, So in the harmony and the balance and living the life that we're meant to live without all this extra stuff hanging over us, So it's time. Let's do this. Ooh, yeah. I'll be bringing in my deep voice too. So yeah, we good.
Yeah. So healing the root is healing. We go to lower chakras. That is chakras number 1 and 2. And the rest will follow. So yeah. All right. Thank you for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Peace.